Alright, so it seems as if AI agents and different platforms like n8n have completely blown up since the start of 2025. So in this video, I want to show you how you can actually begin using different n8n AI agents within your agency. We'll be going over what AI agents actually are, a live build of an AI agent so you can just copy me and implement it straight into your agency, and I'll actually let you walk away with 6 different examples of AI agents that you can actively use within your agency. So guys, let's get straight into it. The first thing I kind of want to clarify is that AI agents have been around for a while. It's not a brand new concept. I mean, if you look at my YouTube channel, 9 months ago, I actually created a video going over 9 different AI assistants, and about 6 of those were actually AI agents. The key that different platforms like n8n have done a really good job in doing is making it a lot easier to actually create and maintain these different AI agents for different automations within your agency. So what actually are AI agents? AI agents mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people depending on who you actually ask and how they're actually using them. As defined by AWS, they are a software program that can interact with this environment, collect data, and use the data to perform self-determined tasks to meet predetermined goals. So imagine you had this kind of super robot helper on your computer that can listen to things, it can see different things, and most importantly, it can actually do different things for you. So for example, when you ask it to play your favorite songs, it can find your favorite song, launch up Spotify or something like that, and actively play it. Kind of like Alexa or Siri, but just a lot better. And the most important part of this whole thing is that we can integrate it within your agency rather than your personal life to have much greater returns on your investment. Now, the reason why I find this super cool is because about 30 years ago, when everyone was in the office, only the big bosses would have access to these different assistants that would do different things like schedule appointments or answer the phone. However, if we fast forward all the way to 2025, we're in a position now where everyone's working from home and your average worker can benefit from having these different assistants that can do a variety of different tasks for him 24/7, available immediately, and without having to spend millions a year in payroll. I mean, it's a pretty cool position we're in, guys. There's a lot of different types of AI agents like reactive agents, deliberate agents, learning agents, autonomous agents, even multi-agent systems, which are very interesting. But no one really cares about that. That's the boring stuff. Let's talk about how you can actually build one of these using n8n so you can integrate these AI agents within your agency. So in this section, I'm basically going to go over a live build of a n8n agent. And what this agent is going to do is very simple. What it's going to do, guys, is whenever I actually talk to it and give it different information about tasks, it's going to collect that required information I need, such as the due date, the task type, and task notes. Then it's going to go ahead and actually create a task automatically within my project management system, guys. Very cool. Let me quickly demonstrate how this works, and then we can actually go ahead and actually show you how I actually built it. And by the way, guys, when I get to an actual build, you're going to see how quick it is to actually build these different AI agents for so many different use cases within your agency. So make sure to like and subscribe because this is going to blow your mind. So I've gone ahead and actually opened n8n. This is the AI agent that I'm actually going to be building live together. And before I actually go ahead and build it, I want to actually showcase to you how this actually looks like in action so you get an idea of what we're actually building. So what this basically does is very simple. I'm going to give information about tasks. When it's actually collected the right information, it's going to go ahead and actually create a task within our project management system that we have right here. So let's go ahead and actually test this out. So guys, if I go ahead and actually give information about this task, I can be like, okay, create a task for YouTube video research for a video on how to use AI agents in your agency. So that's pretty much it. Now it's basically going to confirm different questions for me, such as the name for the task notes, and due date. So I can go ahead and do that. So the name of the task can be you make it up, to you make it up, and 3, I can put 3 days from today. So now it's basically going to go ahead and actually confirm the different details for me. And if I go ahead and actually press confirm, it should go ahead and automatically create that task for me within my project management system. So I'm going to go ahead and press send, and what it's basically done now is send a webhook over to my task management system, and within there, if you actually go ahead and open this up any second now, we should see that new task coming in, which you guys just saw now. And if you open this up, you can see everything has been automatically created. The due date, which obviously a bit wrong because the date today is wrong, but we can go ahead and amend that easily. And the different task notes, which are automatically generated. So this is what we're actually building out today. And obviously this is very simple, but there's obviously different ways you can elevate this. The main thing I kind of want to get through your head today is how easy and how quick you can actually create these different AI agents using a platform like n8n. So let's get straight into it. The first thing you need to do is actually set up your n8n account. As you can see, guys, I basically set up a free account for my YouTube, so you can do all of this on the free account. So we go ahead and we actually choose the first step. The first thing we need to do is actually chat to it. So I'm going to go ahead and actually search for AI agent because I think they already have the template ready. So all I have to do is press AI agent, and that's pretty much it. Now you can basically go ahead and kind of configure it. So for now, I'm just going to close this, just so we leave this for a second. And you can see there's 3 different things we need to set up. We need to set up the chat model, we need to set up the memory, and we need to actually go ahead and set up the tool, which is how it's going to be interacting with different things. Let's go ahead and actually set up the chat model first. For this, you can basically go ahead and correct as many different AIs as you want. For this example, I like to use OpenAI because that's the easiest one. It's the one I use for everyone. Maybe in the future there'll be a better one, but for now, this is what we're going to go ahead and use. And then you want to basically connect the credentials. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you can see a bit better. But I've already gone and done that. And this is literally as simple as, Mate.com or Zapier. All you have to do is enter your API key. So for example, if I create a new credential, all you need to do is basically enter that API key, and that's pretty much it. If you don't know how to get that, all you need to do is go over to OpenAI, and within OpenAI, if you actually log in, you go to API platform, and I think you will need some credits if you're just your first time going to account. But if you go over to dashboard and you go over to API keys, you can actually go ahead and create a new secret key, and then you can give it a name. And then once you actually created that key, all you have to do is copy it, and then when you go back to n8n, go ahead here and create a new credential, and then just paste that API key right there. Very, very simple. But in this example, I already have it connected, so I'll just leave it as that. Once I'm actually here, all I'm going to do is exit this, and we basically set up our chatting function, right? Our actual AI agent, but we need to actually configure it. What do we actually want this guy to do? So as you can see here, I can basically choose different agents that I actually want. For now, I'm just going to use a tool agent because once again, this is what we actually want it to do. We want it to be able to create a different specific tool. Once I'm actually going ahead and choosing my agent, and I've go ahead and actually chosen my source prompt, I guess, I can actually go ahead and add an option, and this is going to be the system message, which is how it understands what it actually is. So this is a very simple message, guys. Once again, this isn't a prompt in masterclass. I would recommend copying this. It's just more so to give you an example of, how easy it is to do this, because this is not a good prompt whatsoever, but it still works and does a trick. So I'm just going to leave it as that in terms of the system prompt, and in terms of settings, I can change different things. But once again, I don't want to make this too complicated, so I'm literally just going to leave it as that. So we have a very simple prompt, and now we can basically move away from this AI agent side of things for a second, because we can actually set up the model. The second thing we need to do is set up a memory. Now, this is basically how the AI agents remember different things, and over time gets better, basically. Now, obviously, they have a bunch of different options, but in this case, I'm just going to use the easiest one, which is kind of the one that's already integrated within them, and I'll just leave it as that. The last thing we need to do now, guys, which is probably the most important step of this whole thing, is give this agent an ability to actually do different things. And the way we do that is by using tools. Now, this has a bunch of different things. This is similar to Mate.com or Zapier, where you can connect to different things. In this example, what I'm basically going to do, I'm going to send a webhook request to this specific automation right here, which will create a record within my project management system. So let's go ahead and do that. Within n8n workflow, I can go HTTP request to, which is basically just a tool to actually send webhooks. Here I can send different descriptions, and this is kind of where we need to slightly align it in a sense. So the description for this is going to be create a task. The method is actually going to be a post method because we're sending the data in. And then all I want to do is copy that webhook in that we got from mate.com. So if I go ahead and actually copy this and I enter it here, so it knows what destination it's actually going to. We don't need any authentication for this, but what we do need is a body so we can actually pass that data through. So what we're basically going to have it do is set up different information such as the task name. So I'll go ahead and do that here. Then we have the task notes. And then lastly, we have the task due date. And one thing that's cool, guys, here is that I don't have to map those individual fields like we would do if we were make.com. I've chosen a set to have it by model and is required. So the model is basically going to talk to me, as you saw in the example earlier, to find these specific fields and then automatically generate them. Guys, this is super, super cool. Let's go ahead and actually leave it as this. And honestly, guys, in that short amount of time, I think we've basically created this AI agent. So if I go back now and we actually restart this, we save this. Now we can actually go ahead and test this out. If I ask a simple task such as, can you create an automation task to create a new automation for client A? As you can see, it's basically going to chat to me and get different information. So for the task name, I can say, you make it up. Task notes, you make it up. And the due date, I'm going to put 3 days from today. Now, if I go there and send that, it's basically going to come up with this information and ask me for confirmation. If I go to actually press confirm and I turn this automation on right here, what it's basically going to do is going to send that webhook over to that particular task because it's going ahead and convert the information and it's going to go ahead and actually create a new task. So once again, if I open up my project management system, we should see that task coming in a second now, which as you can see, we have it right here. And it's basically asking to develop an automation system for client A. Now, the due date didn't come in correctly, so we can obviously have a deeper look at it and kind of figure out what went wrong. But as you see, guys, that's how easy it is to create these different AI agents. And I can't really emphasize this enough because before using different platforms like n8n, you have to go to OpenAI, and then for each of the individual systems, you have to set up the different webhooks, right? And you have to kind of map everything out. Anytime something changes, you have to have quite a long process to actually update it. But now they're getting so much better, basically kind of figuring out the task by themselves, collecting relevant information before they actually ship it out, and then actually going to execute these different actions, like for example creating a task, or it could be scheduling a meeting. And I'm going to go through a bunch of different examples in a second, but I hope you know how easy it is to actually do these different things. And by the way guys, one thing I did forget to mention, if you want the actual template for the specific automation, which is fairly simple, but just in case you do want it, you can enter my school community. It's 100% free. All you have to do is check out the first link in the description. Once you're actually there, if you go over to the classroom section, you open up YouTube resources, and within the automation section you have a video just like this, where if you scroll down you can download it and import it straight into your n8n account and your mate.com account. It's 100% free, and within there we have probably over 100 different resources now, and a community of over 256 different established agency owners, all looking to set up scale-proof systems. So if that's of interest, check it out. But guys, now that we've gone over the live build, let's go over different examples of AI assistants, or AI agents I should say, that you can actually use in your agency. So there's a lot of different options on how you can actually use these AI agents. I mean, I hope by the time you're watching this, you've gone through the demonstration and your brain is basically blasting with different ideas of how you can actually replace different employees. But let's just slow down. Let me show you different examples of how you can actually use these in your agency with 6 different examples. So this is going to be split up in 2 sections. The first section, I'm going to go over kind of high level work examples that I've built for different clients, and then I'm going to go over n8n templates specifically. So first things first, let's go over the past work examples. So once again, these are examples of different AI agents that I've actually built for my clients. The first one is a reporting agent. Now what this agent's done is fairly simple, and you'll get an idea. Most of these agents are simple, but the impact they actually have is very, very large. So all this does is a reporting agent. So once a month, what this basically does, it goes ahead and actually scrapes a spreadsheet with all the different active clients that we currently have. And then for each one of those clients, it goes ahead and actually scrapes the individual reports. Once you actually manage to scrape the report, we basically generate different summaries for each individual client. And then if necessary, so if you notice the client isn't doing as well as other clients, we basically create a task within their system, which at the time was monday.com, to actually review that specific client and come up with an action plan on how we can actually improve it. Once again, a fairly simple automation, but this saves someone from first having to check each individual client one by one, and secondly, it also makes sure we don't miss anything, because this agent is automatically checking which clients are kind of in a red period, so we can be proactive and give them further assistance to actually help them with a goal before they come to us with a problem. One of the best ways you can actually improve your customer experience is being proactive rather than reactive, and this simple AI agent here basically takes care of that for us. The second example is a project management agency. Now this is a very cool agent, and I've kind of leaning towards setting this up for most people that we build these different internal platforms like this project management system, for example. But what this basically does is every single day it scrapes all the different active tasks that we have, so either tasks that are in a progress stage or in a backlog stage, and then for each employee we scrape the number of available hours that they're actually working today, and then based on the number of tasks that we actually have and the number of available hours per employee, we set a task priority and then create a game plan based on task and a number of hours available for each individual employee. Now this is super cool, and I really hope I explained it well enough, because this is one of those automations that really pays off, guys, because every single day an employee logs in and they get this message first thing in the morning going over, okay, this is the game plan for today, this is what you should start with, this is what you should do next, and this is kind of what you should prioritize based on, once again, every single day the tasks that have actually been set to them and the number of hours that they actually have available. Once again, an amazing use of an AI agent. And once again, I am trying to lean in towards having all my different clients implement this, because we've seen a massive impact on the team's productivity based on this. And the third example is a meeting agent. Now, this is probably one of the most common examples, but still a very high leverage AI agent you actually integrate. What this basically does, every single time a meeting ends, very simply, we get the transcript from a specific meeting, and then we go ahead and actually create a follow-up task if necessary. The key difference here is where we actually use the AI agent is that it doesn't just create random action items like Fathom does, for example. It basically only creates it if it's really necessary. Like, for example, if it's a sales follow-up, or if it's a customer success kind of follow-up, or even if it's a product follow-up that when you kind of need to fix something or talk about a product or potentially revise it. Once again, a very simple AI agent, but this is something that saves the closers, the project managers, the customer success managers a lot of different time, and also avoids them a mistake. Because let's say something comes up after a meeting, or let's say you have a meeting straight after a meeting, this basically prevents you from ever forgetting to create a different follow-up task, whether it's for yourself or someone else, to avoiding delays for the clients. So that's the 3 kind of real world examples of different AI agents that you can actually use in your agency, with examples of what we've actually built for previous clients. But what I think will be more interesting for you, specifically because this video kind of centered around n8n, is 3 different templates that I found from n8n's workflow library, guys. And if you haven't checked this out, I really recommend doing it, because within this, there's about 1,000 different workflow automation templates you kind of base off of and just implement straight into your agency, from AI IT ops, marketing, so on and so forth. Now, I will say a lot of these are automations, not necessarily AI agents. So focus on the AI section and just have a look. I mean, if specifically looking for AI agents, just make sure there's an AI assistants involved there somewhere. But for now, let's talk about these three different examples. The first example is quite simple. All this simple automation actually does, guys, and once again, I can't take credit for this, but if you do want these templates, I've gone ahead and attached them within my school community, and you can also check them out in the actual workflow automation section. What it basically does is it first checks for incoming email about specifically an appointment. So once an email actually comes in, it basically checks if it's about an appointment or not. If it is an appointment request, it basically goes ahead and talks to an agent which has access to Google Calendar to basically determine with a different availability based on the different request. And then once I've actually found a different availability, it goes ahead and sends a reply to that specific email. So once again, let's say someone was to send a message to your email asking for different times that you actually are available. Rather than sending a meeting link, which is good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, a bit less personalized and not much physical touch. I mean, someone just sending you a link, probably an automated message. What it's basically doing here is it's scraping the times available on your Google Calendar and then sending different options of what times they can actually book in based on your calendar. So for example, let's say I have an opening on Tuesday at 2 p.m. You can go ahead and actually find that opening and then send them an email. And then I'm sure you can kind of elevate this a step further by whenever they respond, automatically booking that appointment as well. So you have fewer delays within your sales process, and it's a bit more personalized, which is much likely to increase that booking rate. A different example I can actually show you, and this was really interesting to me because I think there's a lot you can do with this. And one of my favorite use cases of these different AI agents, specifically in agencies, is integrating it within Slack, because it's all good and well being able to talk to it within something like n8n, like this different chat function right here. However, that's not really a good application because realistically, no one's going to enter n8n and talk to it within here. We need to find a way to actually integrate it within our customers or employees' day-to-day lives, and Slack is a great way of doing it. So what this basically does is whenever a new message comes in Slack, it basically reads the webhook to make sure it's a message from Slack, and if it's a person asking a request, it's going to go ahead and talk to the LLM, which is basically ChatGPT, to kind of configure what the request actually is. Based on that specific request, go ahead and actually store that information, and then it's going to go ahead and actually complete the task, which could be searching the internet, I don't know, wherever it may be, and then at the end it goes ahead and actually responds back in Slack. Now this is a very basic version of this. What I would basically do is rather than just having it search the internet and kind of create some sort of AI generated response, I'll have it actually complete different tasks. So imagine if within your Slack account you can have an agent that whenever you request a specific follow-up date, it goes ahead and actually automates your CRM. So for example, let's say I go in Slack and I basically request a follow-up date. It can go within my CRM, find that specific lead, for example, this guy, and then go ahead and actually automatically set a follow-up date. So I don't need to manually have to do it. Same thing with qualification. I can be like, hey, by the way, this specific lead wasn't qualified. It can go ahead and actually find that specific lead and actually automatically update them for me. Once again, all within Slack, which if you're using it as your main communication hub, is a lot better having everything integrated in one space. So you don't have to kind of be scattering around different tools to try and figure something out. The third example I actually want to show you is one of the bit more complicated ones, but I think it works really, really well. So what this basically does is whenever you have a chat message, and once again, I would recommend having this as a chat message. I would recommend having it within Slack, email, wherever it may be, just not within n8n because realistically employees are not going to use that. But whenever it actually receives that chat message, it goes ahead and actually runs this function right here, which based on the information basically runs loop and searches for different video ideas that you can actually use, basically doing research for you. I mean, this is pretty sick, guys. Obviously this is a bit more complicated, and feel free to actually access the template to get more information about how this actually works. But the main reason I include in this is not specifically for your different YouTube agencies out there, but because I think it gives a good idea of how much you can actually do with these individual tools, right? Because right here, we're not just having it, complete one task and then wander off. It's actually completing kind of a series of different tasks. This kind of looks like a make.com automation, if anything. And that's what you can actually do with AI agents. And the cool part of it is that you don't have to really set this up. I mean, you do it once and it basically figures out what different inputs and outputs it basically needs, and then it goes ahead and actually follows up with the information. So the reason I include in this example is you get a much better idea of how really enhanced these different platforms actually are. Because a lot of people are, to be honest, they're having this conversation of n8n or make.com. And I think personally that's really interesting because I think n8n is now developing as its own sort of automation platform. And I see the kind of use case for it. Me personally, I'm still a fan of make.com, and I think it's got different applications for certain things that makes it a lot easier to actually maintain. As great as n8n is, I think it can get a bit more complicated, which is great for coders, which is what it was actually built for. But for general agency owners, do I feel confident creating an automation and handing it over to a client? Not entirely, which is why for now, anyways, I'm sticking to different platforms like main.com, because when it comes to that point where my client actually need to maintain the automation by themselves, I won't be 100% confident in actually do that on a platform on an n8n, at least just yet. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months in the future, that might have changed. But for now, I'm sticking to make.com for specific use cases. I'm also using n8n as an additional tool for these different AI agents for different clients. But guys, that's pretty much it. You now know how you can basically create and use different n8n AI agents within your agency. If this video was valuable, make sure to let me know. And if you want more videos going over specifically the build out of different AI agents within n8n, feel free to let me know. I mean, I've seen a ton of different videos online. I have kind of skipped past it because I thought it was a bit of a hype face, but I couldn't ignore it any longer. So I thought, let me actually create this video. And once again, guys, this isn't necessarily something new, but the key thing that n8n and different tools like they have done is they made a lot easier to actually create and maintain these different tools, and they keep on updating their system, so I'm sure over time this will get even better, making it super accessible for literally any business to have these different AI agents, and which they can hand off to different employees, improving their productivity to increase their capacity and give their clients a better experience without taking on additional cost. So guys, if this video was helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We drop videos like this every single week going over how you can use these different tools to streamline your agency's operations. Once again, guys, if you want access to any different templates we talked about in this video, you can go ahead and actually join my community using the first link in the description. Go over to the classroom section, and within YouTube resources, you'll find probably over 100 different templates of automations you can actually use within your agency, along with the templates that we actually discussed today. Guys, that's pretty much it from me. I hope this video is valuable. Let me know in the comments your opinion on AI agents and different use cases you actually have on how you're actually going to be using them within your agency. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, whether it was the build out or whether it was one of the examples I actually showed, feel free to let me know. Also, I did say this earlier, but if you do want to see me talk about one of these examples a bit further and actually build another one live out for you guys, I've got no issue doing that. Just let me know in the comments so I can actually, follow up on that and actually create that video for you. But apart from that, guys, it's been a pleasure actually recording this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next one. All right, bye bye.